everyone. We're Maren and Angela, and this is Homeschool Unrefined. Welcome to our spring and summer 2022 season. This whole season is going to be a treat for you. As some of you know, we've been creating this podcast since 2016. At that time, some of our kids were in single digits, playdates dominated, and we had this idea to create a community around keeping homeschool simple, real, and fun.
For this season, we've gone back through all 5 years of episodes to find those that have been the most loved and downloaded. We've compiled them into a list of our top 20 favorites, and we'll be counting them down for you this season. You are definitely going to want to stick around to hear which episodes made it to the top.
We're really proud of these episodes and wanted to share them because they're at the heart of what Homeschool Unrefined is all about. We wanted to go back and remind ourselves of the work we've done and the community that's been built around these ideas.
You might feel some nostalgia when you hear the old music and our old intro. There will also probably be some old promotions and some links that are no longer relevant. We've come a long way as podcasters, yet the messages in these episodes are timeless.
If you're looking for new episodes of Homeschool Unrefined, join our Patreon community. For just $5 a month, you'll always have a new episode in your podcast feed. We are continuously recording new content and love sharing our lives with you there. Consider joining for $5 a month. You will be not only nodding your head along with us every week, but you'll also find a group of amazing people, plus you'll be supporting our message. You can join us at patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined. Okay, here are our most loved episodes.
You're listening to Homeschool Unrefined. I'm Maren.
And I'm Angela. Let's encourage each other, laugh, and get real about homeschool. Welcome to the podcast where we keep homeschool simple, real, and fun. You've got episode 40, where we let go of perfectionism. Hi, Maren.
Hi.
So, I think we're doing a Remember When segment today.
We are.
Yeah, and you've got something for me.
Get ready.
Okay.
No, it's not embarrassing.
Okay,
Don't
good.
worry. Remember when probably 20 years ago?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, it's a little embarrassing because it's 20 years ago. Remember when we took our first community ed yoga class together?
Gosh. Yes, I do. Okay, let's just clarify. I think that was maybe 15 years ago. I'm not that. Yeah. Well, were you? How old were we?
Oh, yeah. We were probably 24.
Okay. So,
I'm going to say
around 15 years ago.
16. 17.
Okay, yeah. Yes, I do. That was a hoot.
It was a hoot. And, it was one of those yoga classes. It was my first yoga class ever.
And, I love getting the community ed catalog. I still do. Love it.
Me too.
Love paging through to see what things I could learn.
What things I probably will never sign up for, but really want to.
Right.
I know.
And since we were young and single, we were like, hey, let's go to yoga.
Yeah.
We can do that.
But it was the kind of yoga that was like super calming yoga.
Yeah.
It was not it had no physical intensity.
It was not a workout.
It was
So
it was a workout in patience.
I met at a middle school library.
Yep.
And we were like positioned between the stacks of books.
Okay, that was the first thing that was so funny about it.
Really?
And then also the instructor's name was Kitty.
Yep.
I feel like somebody's gonna
Nothing against the name of Kitty.
No, but definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not going there. But it was just funny because I think one week we all sat around and
the first week.
Was it the first week?
Yeah.
And then
getting to know each other.
That makes sense. And everybody had to say why they joined the class, and 90% of the people said it was because of Kitty.
Yeah. I'm not here for the yoga. I'm here for Kitty. And she must have been doing it for years. She probably still does it.
Oh, yeah. And she kept saying, oh, no. It's the yoga.
It's not me.
It's
the yoga.
not me. It's the yoga. It is yoga.
I remember, I don't know if you want me to tell the story, so we can cut it out if you don't want me to, but do you remember we had to go around the circle and introduce ourselves?
Yeah.
And you said, you taught third grade.
Yeah.
And this person goes, you teach third grade? You look like you're in third grade. And you
like that. That's how the person said it too.
And you shot the evilest glance. You were so upset.
Did I?
You were so upset. You were like, that is not funny.
I was probably offended by that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if anybody said that to me now, I'd be like, I'd give them a hug.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think you had been told you looked young for too long, and you were like,
that was the last straw.
Oh my gosh. And then
I wasn't feeling very zen like at that moment.
And then one of the sessions, I don't know if it was the first one, we had to just like
stretch our fingers.
Stretch our finger.
I mean, we stretched our fingers for the last 15 minutes of class, I think. That's how we wound down.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. Just like one finger. Just
to the back, to the front, to the left, to the right. Every finger.
Gosh. We were like, why does everyone love yoga? I don't get it.
I don't get this.
And I remember every week we'd go get Jimmy John's and then debate whether we should go.
Like 50% of the time we didn't even go to the class.
Now that I've done yoga, like much more, I look back and I go, wow, that was an interesting first experience.
That's probably why we didn't do it for
10 more years.
At least 10 years after that. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Now I love yoga.
I know.
I really do. I love yoga so much. I have to tell you, that is when I first started like a notebook for my ideas of parody skits.
Like for SNL.
For SNL.
Yeah.
Like I thought someday I'm going to write for SNL and this is going to be such a good skit.
Yeah. You had lots of good ideas in that notebook.
Uh-huh. I know.
Do you still have that?
I think I don't. I think I just threw it out.
Oh.
I know.
It's a bummer.
I know. But you know what? It was good for its time. It's like, what's the book that's all about like getting rid of things?
The magic, life-changing magic of tidying up?
Yes.
Okay. So it served its purpose for you.
Served its purpose, and it was so good for me to write those things down at the time, and I just can't keep all that stuff. It was really good, though. Yeah. I mean, I loved writing in that notebook, and I always have a notebook, too.
Yeah.
That I add to it, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
Deep breath.
Yep. Should we move on to our main topic?
Yes.
Okay, so our main topic is letting go of perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you don't call yourself a perfectionist, you probably have some areas where you can tend towards perfectionism.
Absolutely.
So we really wanted to talk about how we are trying. We're always trying to let that go.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this might be a little bit of a vulnerable episode for us, Angela.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about things that might not... I mean, I was just thinking as I was writing down some things that I tend to be perfectionistic in. And I'm just like, man, I don't know if I've talked to a lot of people about...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it hasn't been like super obvious to me that I am a perfectionist in a lot of ways, so I had to kind of dig deep. And then when I did, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what ways do you want to get started? And
well, yeah, I think something that I struggle with, and I think Jeremy struggles with too, and so the two of us together can it can be either healthy or not healthy, mm-hmm. And I think that's what's hard about perfectionism is that in some ways, like striving to be good and having good, high ideals is such a good thing.
It is.
But then it can become unhealthy.
Right.
So anyways, we both want to be like the best parents.
And
so we both try so hard.
So what does that look like to you, being the best parent?
For me personally, it looks like emotionally connecting with my kids. So, and I know being a good parent can look, I mean, that's just one little aspect.
Right.
But that's the one that's really important to me. So I will go overboard, I think, and spend lots of time emotionally connecting, which I think can be, like I said, I think it can be a really good thing. But also, maybe sometimes I feel like I do it a little too much.
Yeah, well, I think everybody's strength can also be their weakness in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think also, I'll just speak for both of Jeremy and I think we want to give our kids, like, the best experiences.
Sure.
And, you know, make sure they know how to work hard. And, you know, contribute to the family, and that they're doing the appropriate amount of chores, and that we're having, you know, we're traveling and we're having good family, I don't know, togetherness, memories. That's a good word. Yeah. And so I think we can focus on that probably a little bit unhealthily.
Yeah. And so what do you see as the consequences of those kind of things?
Well,
what does that look like specifically? And then what are the consequences?
Well, I think the main consequence for me, the reason that I'm trying hard to let go of this is because I want to be a good role model for my kids. Yep. Which, again, that might be...
It's very good.
Yeah, that's good. I want to be a good role model, and I want them to grow up, and I don't want them to remember back and think like, oh, my parents did all these things, or they did all the right things, and I'm not able to keep up, or I'm not able to match that, or why am I failing when they could do it all? And so I do not want them to... I want them to look back and remember that we couldn't do it all. Right. And that we failed at a lot of things. I want them to see us failing and, like, getting back up.
Yes, that's so important.
And so I'm trying to, like, when I do fail and then have to get back up, I'm trying to make sure they see that. So.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So this is where I feel like just a lot of self-awareness is really key.
Yeah.
Because we all have this. Some kind of perfectionistic tendencies, I think.
Yep.
And if we're just, like, aware of it, I think at least we're probably still going to be that way in some way.
Yeah.
And yet we can kind of at least curb it a little, or even just name it and share that with your family. Like, I see this is happening.
Yeah. Or I struggle with it.
I mean, I'm working on this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, awareness is, like, most of the battle.
And probably, like,
for
humbleness
anything.
too. Like, just be humble about it. And,
yeah. How about you? What kinds of things do you struggle with regarding perfectionism?
Yeah, it's so interesting because when we thought of this topic, at first, you and I both agreed that I probably wouldn't have very much to say about being a perfectionist, because on the outside, it doesn't look like I'm very perfectionist at all. In fact, I can go the other way where I'm like, I should probably care a little more about some of these things. But I think, on the Myers-Briggs, I'm a P.
Yep.
Instead of a J. So a perceiver instead of a judger, which means I don't like to organize my outer world. I'd rather organize my inner world. And so I think a lot of my perfectionist tendencies are inside. So you wouldn't even notice them most of the time. It's not necessarily about a clean house or finishing a project perfectly or my kids' schoolwork. None of that is that important to me. Because, I mean, I think that's more of a J tendency.
Yep.
And for a P, it's a lot about, so the inner world, so it might be relationships. I overanalyze sometimes my relationships with people. Especially, like my closest relationships, I overanalyze like my relationship with my husband and my kids. And I worry about those things like a lot
Oh.
sometimes. So I can be perfectionistic in that where if something's like not perfect in that relationship or going great, then I like can worry about it.
Yeah.
It's, so and so I can also get perfectionistic about just kind of like you where like experiences are really important to me, like having good experiences and having fun and positive feelings
Yeah.
in those experiences are so important to me that like I will bend over backwards to make sure like this is going to be good. This is going to be a good thing for everybody. And if it's not, I mean, that doesn't, so what I need to learn is like, if somebody's not happy, like in my family, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
life.
It's life.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not responsible for, everybody's happiness. So those kind of things, sometimes it could just be, I can get perfectionistic about doing the least amount of work to have the most fun. And so if I have to do more work than I planned, I get, that's where like I can get really upset about that. So these are not like traditional perfectionist tendencies where you might not see them as perfectionistic, but they are. Yeah. They really are. Yeah. Oh, also the other one I thought of was when we pack for a trip, like I really want to make sure everybody has the right amount of clothes, the right amount of things to do in the car, all the perfect activities. They have like their activity bag and,
Wow.
It can get like a little out of control.
I did not know you did that for traveling.
No.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are things you might not see.
Yeah, right.
Me, but they're there.
So what do you think the consequences of being perfectionistic in those ways are?
I think sometimes when things aren't going well, then like a fun time can be turned bad because of my attitude.
Yeah.
Like suddenly like one thing went wrong and then I'm like, yeah. I get upset and then like the whole fun day is not as fun anymore.
Yeah.
Or something. So that can happen.
Yeah. I think as homeschoolers, I feel like I think maybe a lot of homeschoolers could relate to this, but I feel like, so we've chosen homeschooling. And that's something that we all have in common. And we've chosen that and it's not the norm. It's not what all your neighbors and friends and family or whatever are doing. And you've probably chosen that because you think it's better in some way.
Sure.
Than the alternative.
Right.
And so I think it can be easy to feel like we have control over what our kids are going to experience, or we have control over how they're going to feel about those experiences and what the effects are going to be. When really, I think what I need to do, I'll just speak for myself, is let go of thinking and needing that control over how their childhood is going to go.
Exactly. And I think as homeschool parents, there has to be some sort of perfectionistic tendency in us to have made this choice because it is, to us, this is the better choice. Like we want to move towards a better choice. And I think that's a strength of us, of all of us, I think, that we've made a choice that not most people are doing. Right. That we think is better for our family. And it probably is. And then we just have to be careful of that strength, that it doesn't turn into a weakness of some sort.
Right.
Yeah. So I was thinking too, another way that I'll just speak for myself here too. Yeah. When I think of like our read aloud time, I want that to be perfect.
Yeah, me too.
I want, everybody to be cozy and happy and doing something peaceful while I'm reading a book, and it's just like this perfect scenario. Yeah. And like oftentimes that is not how it goes. No. There are 20 interruptions and somebody doesn't want to listen to the book and just things like that. And so I think we just have to let go of the vision of what the perfect read aloud time would be. So we can enjoy read aloud when there are 20 interruptions.
Yeah.
Because there just are going to be, probably.
Well, and I think, too, and I'll speak for myself again, just bringing this, like, in addition to read aloud, I feel like I have a perfect vision of what our day should look like. And
yeah,
does it ever look like that? Like maybe 1% of the time. It looks like my perfect vision. Most of the time, I can tend to be disappointed by what we didn't do or how something didn't go well or something like that. And I focus on that. And so I think it's important to be realistic about not having perfect days. And I think that's good. Yeah. I mean, I really do think that's better. I want my kids to see that days don't turn out the way you want to. Sometimes things go wrong, and here's how we handle it. Sometimes we're disappointed, and that's okay. I want them to experience disappointment and feel disappointment. I want them to see me experiencing that and handling it. So I think it really is good to have those kind of days, which is what most of our days are like. Yes. It's just remembering that.
Yeah, and I think if our expectation every day is way up, so lofty that like it's unattainable, like the perfect scenario is just not going to happen every day, we are going to burn out.
Yeah.
And quit.
Yeah.
Or not quit. Like keep plowing through.
Ooh, that'd be
which
worse.
might be even worse.
Yeah.
And then you're just miserable and then angry at your kids and yourself, and every day you feel like a failure, and that's just no way to go through life.
Right.
You don't want to feel like a failure every day. So I think it's more important to change expectations than it is to like change to try and reach those lofty goals.
Right.
I mean, it's good to have goals. It's good to have, things that you're reaching towards. But also, like, I think maybe your purpose for homeschool, like you said, your purpose for homeschool, for me, my purpose for homeschool is not to finish the entire math book this year. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
My goal isn't for them to get from this reading level to this reading level. Although, I mean, I would like that to happen, but if I somehow have that perfectionistic expectation, like that has to happen in order for me to feel like I'm doing a good job, it's just, there's so much riding on that.
Yeah, it cannot be about the outcome. It can't be about the outcome. It has to be about the process.
The process.
Yes.
I know. And I think this is a reoccurring theme in our episodes.
Yeah.
We should probably add this to like our mission statement or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we are focusing on the process every day, it just becomes so much more enjoyable and so attainable. It's like I can go through this process every day.
Yeah.
It's just, no matter what happens, I can do this.
Yeah. And that's one thing I really like about homeschooling is it feels more real life, which I know might be obvious to most people, but I feel like, in real life, days don't go as planned. Things on your list don't get done. Your house is messy. There are disappointments. People fight and then they work it out. There's all that stuff happening in your homeschool day. And so that feels like more like real life, more like preparation for real life, which is one thing I really like about homeschool. So I should be embracing that rather than being disappointed that we didn't like meet our high standards.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you have somehow worked on a relationship with one of your kids during the day and, you've made progress in that way, I mean, that is so huge.
That's progress.
It's so huge, yeah. And that's going to help them for the rest of their lives, probably more than finishing a lesson.
Right. And like you have said before, which I've tried to do after hearing you say it, is like go through at the end of your day, think about what are the things I did do, not just what I didn't get done. Like I didn't get those 3 things done that I wanted to do, but what did I do? And when I do that, I can think about a handful of things and they're all really good things.
Listen, if you need to write those things down on your checklist and then check them off, do it.
I used to do
Because
that.
it's, if that's important to you, do it.
Yeah.
Because those things that you did to go through the process that weren't initially on your checklist, because who writes those things down on the checklist? They're just as important.
Yeah.
As finishing your initial checklist. So just write them down.
Yeah.
They're very important.
Right.
Very important.
Right. And I want, like I was saying before, being a good role model, I want my kids to see that it's not the outcome. It's not finishing the curriculum that is the goal. Right. It's, did you enjoy learning? Are you enjoying this process? Or are you learning something from this process?
Yeah, yeah.
Or it's not, and so I don't want them to see like a clean kitchen is the goal. It's, we're working hard together. We're taking care of our things. We're being responsible. That's the goal. And
I think something that I've learned just from working with so many kids for so many years is that when something doesn't meet your expectations, it's so important to just not be disappointed about that thing. It's like you have to analyze, like, where did it break down? Okay, so it broke down when... For example, I asked everybody to clean up the kitchen with me. Okay, so that means we need to work on that right there.
Yeah.
That's the spot. Like, that's where we're at right now as a family.
Yeah.
So let's work on that right there. So let's talk about what happens when I ask you to clean the kitchen with me. What happens there? You know, you can have a meeting about that and be like, what happened? Like, everybody ran away. And then... So what can we do to change that? Do you need me to give you specific ideas of what you can do?
Yeah.
Or would it help to have something that would motivate you? Or, you can problem solve that together. That's where the book, How to Talk So Kids Will Listen.
Yeah.
We just did a book club over the summer about that book. And like, that helps, because then it's not about like telling your kids, I'm really mad that this didn't happen. And, just... focus on the negative. Like, let's just focus on where it broke down and how we can problem solve or work this through, or let's go through the process together.
Yeah.
This is where we are.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you still do need a clean kitchen. I mean, you want a clean kitchen and you want to be able to do that.
Right.
It's just, that can't be the only thing.
And that is important. I mean, having a clean kitchen or a clean house or a clean bedroom or whatever, those are important skills to teach. Because we need, why? Because we need to respect our things.
Yeah. I remember when I was in ECFE as a young, when my kids were young, early childhood family education, such a great program. But I remember the parent educator was so encouraging, but always said, well, don't worry too much about the messes. I mean, just enjoy your kids. And I thought it's such wise advice. But then eventually I was like, yeah, but I mean, like, I need a clean kitchen.
Yeah.
So at some point, we need to have some kind of expectations here. So
right. You can't just always forget about that. You can't just go through life and never worry about that. At some point, you need to worry about that.
Right. You want to have a healthy, functioning family, and sometimes that means, like, doing the dishes. And
some people need to organize their kitchen before they can feel like they can relax and, like, enjoy the rest of their life. And I understand that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, my rule now still is the next meal or snack doesn't happen until the last meal has been cleaned up.
That's a good one.
A lot of times after dinner, I have kids, or after lunch or something, I have kids who want to, like, make something else or
right away
make a snack. No,
I know.
The kitchen hasn't even been cleaned up from the last situation yet.
Yeah.
If you want to help me, you can help me clean up, and then whatever. But
I think that stuff is important. It's super important. I just don't want my kids to correlate a clean kitchen, a clean house, finishing the math book, whatever that task is, with being successful.
Yeah.
I want them to think, like, am I having fun? Am I learning something? Or sometimes you're not having fun doing school, but sometimes that, the reason you're doing it is important. Like, for example, my 12-year-old just took her online boat class this summer. Because she wanted to get her boat license. Because once you're 12, you can get your boat license in our state. So she had to...
which is amazing to me,
amazing.
by the way.
I know.
12?
I know.
Okay. All right.
I know. But this online class was intense for her. And there's quizzes. And I mean, you have to read all this information. And then there's a quiz and read all the information. And
oh, wow.
I mean, it was really intense. And did she love that? No. Did she love what she was learning? No. But she wants her boat license. Yeah. So it was important. So she worked hard? So she worked hard and did it.
And she did it.
She did it. She did it finally. But I'm just, I guess my point is, like, you're not always going to love what you're doing. Right. And that's okay. But maybe the end goal is important to you. Maybe you want to get into college. Maybe you want to. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Find the thing that's important to you and then work hard to do it. And, like, understand that the process is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like, learn things from the process. Don't just get to the end.
Right.
And be done. Right.
Oh, gosh. That was my whole school experience was just about the end goal.
I think for most people it is. Yeah. I do. I think for most people it is. So we're on a different path, I think. Yeah. I do. Yeah. So some of the other consequences that I don't think we've talked about yet are, I think being a perfectionist can sometimes sound judgmental. Oh, so, yes. You know, even if you're being your own perfectionist, like you're like, oh, my house is so messy. I mean, when you hear somebody else say that, I feel judged. Yeah. Because my house is messier than your house. Yeah. You know, so other people always bring it onto themselves. So if you're doing that in front of your kids, then they're going to feel that way. You know, if you're being perfectionistic about your own thing, then they're going to probably take on some of those things too.
Yes. That's a great point. I love that one. Thank you for bringing that up because I did not think about that one. But it is so true. It is so true because...
That's when... Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I think because I'm not always perfectionistic, but when I hear other people be perfectionist in those ways, then I bring it back to myself, and then I'm like, oh my gosh.
And then you think, like,
what do you think of me?
Yeah, what are they thinking about me and the way I do this? Or should I be worried about that? Right. Yeah.
Okay, so then another thing is that being perfectionistic can also cost yourself a relationship with somebody, because what can happen is your perfectionistic tendencies can override the actual relationship with people. And so I think that especially with kids, my kids have even said this right to my face. You care more about this kitchen than you care about me. Or, you know, you care more about having a clean house than you care about me. And, you know, they're just verbalizing what they're thinking.
What it seems like in the moment.
What it seems like in the moment. Yeah. And I think if over time that can be very detrimental.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, because you don't want your kid to think that the most important thing is their room perfect. Right. Because yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think, how many times did I tell, specifically I'm thinking about one child who always has a very messy wherever she is. And so, like, how many times have I told her to clean up her stuff? And how many times have I, like, just stopped and hugged her or cuddled or told her I loved her? Yeah. 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 So, and those can be very subtle things, but just mean so much. Right. They can mean the world.
Right. Right.
To that child. So, and it can also cause low self-esteem.
Yeah.
So if you keep having these high expectations of your children, if they don't ever reach those high expectations, they're just going to feel terrible about themselves. So right. Just have to keep it in check. I mean, it's good to have high standards, you know, but just like we said, you don't want to focus on that all the time.
Right.
And it can cause resentment.
Yeah, like I'm never going to live up to what my parents want me to be, or how
they just make me work all the time.
Yeah, or I'm never going to be as good at this as my parents want me to be, or I'm never going to whatever. You can apply it to any situation, academic. You can apply it to sports. You can apply it to cleaning your house. Whatever the situation is. Yeah. And you don't want your kids to feel that way.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when it comes to sports, we were just I was just talking to my kids about this a couple days ago. And they, we have never really focused on sports. I mean, we've tried a few things here and there, but we're not like a major, huge sports family. And I think every family has different things that they focus on and different things that are important to them. And some families are really big sports families. We've never really been one. But I feel like my kids are kind of to the age now where they're a little bit afraid to try something new because they are afraid they're not going to be as good as the other kids.
Yep.
Or they don't want to be like the worst.
Yeah.
The worst one. Or the worst for their age. But they are interested in trying things. It's just they are holding back a little bit. And I feel really bad about that. And so I don't necessarily know what the answer is, but I feel like it's kind of something socially, like our society has culturally or whatever done. And it's really too bad. It's like if you don't start early,
I know,
you're kind of,
totally
not.
Simplicity parenting really talks a lot about that.
I know. And I think it's okay. Like I can handle it when my kids are younger. Now for my 12-year-old, I'm starting to feel a little bit bad. Like, she is kind of old. She is a little bit old. I mean, I still want to encourage her to try things, but she does have that fear of failure and that fear of not being good enough.
Which is natural. I mean, I think a lot of this is very natural too. But yeah, if that's coming down from their parents too, then that's like even compounded and it can get very really tough. Academically, I think perfectionism can be detrimental when I don't know, for kids because sometimes they will just do exactly what they know they need to do to meet those perfectionistic expectations and then be done.
Right.
So they lose the love of learning and just like they want to just reach the goal and be done.
Right.
And so that's kind of it is counterproductive, I think.
Right. When the goal is finishing the paper or doing 20 minutes of this and
doing it perfectly.
Yeah. And did you get the right answers? Okay, you're done. When that's the goal, that can squelch that love of learning.
Exactly. And like I've said before, it's so good to have these, high expectations for your kids. Like you can do this. You can do this. Now, does that mean they have to do it perfectly right away the first time? No, that's not going to happen. Yeah. You gotta pull back. Maybe try for perfection in one little tiny area or something and then move on. But you cannot expect perfection across the board or,
and I just got to say, too, like, if your child is really having a tough time with something and not, finishing the paper or finishing the assignment or doing what you want, and there are tears, that is a great time to just stop.
Be done.
Because the process is important. And if they're going to, associate doing that academic work with tears, that's not worth it.
End it.
Try another day.
Try another day in another format, maybe, or something.
Give more support.
Yes.
Do a little less. Yep.
Yeah. I would just end it right there and do something connecting together.
Yeah.
Like read their favorite book together or go play catch together or something.
Something
just do
they
something.
Like. Yeah.
Yes. Something they like. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think this same thing kind of goes with chores or even helping out around the house. I have noticed that the less expectations I have of my kids with the chores, like being perfect, getting it done perfectly, the more I care about that, the less they want to do. So I really want them to care more than I care. So instead of going in there, if their job is to clean the bathroom counter, let's say, if I went in there and I was like, this, you missed this, you have to redo it all, you have to fix this. It's like, that is another thing. It's counterproductive. That is not going to help. I mean, they'll do it. They'll redo it because I told them to, but they're not going to do it better next time.
Yeah.
So what I've been learning to do is to ask them, what do you think? Do you think you did a good job there? Like, do you think everybody's gonna be able to use this area? Or,
That's
any kind of questions like that where you put it back on them.
That is really good advice because I'm recognizing myself in what you're talking about.
Well, me too. Me too. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, wiping down the counters, wiping off the table. That's one that I tend to be like, ooh, look, let's redo that. You missed a spot.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, well, they are not adults. They are not going to be working at the same level that I am going to be working at. So they can do it as an 8-year-old would do it. Yeah. Which is pretty good. Yeah. It can be pretty good. But it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
And then afterwards, sometimes I will go and fix it sometimes, but otherwise, like, who cares? Like, just, it's okay. The way it was, it's okay. Yeah. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then what I've noticed it too is when I do that, oftentimes my kids will help without even being asked. Like when they notice I'm working hard at something, they'll be like, oh, here, let me help you, because they know I'm going to be so appreciative of whatever they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do a lot more thanks and praise than criticizing.
Oh, that's great.
I really try.
Yeah, that is so good.
I really try, I should say. All right. That was such a good talk.
Yes, it was.
I needed that.
I think it's one that I'm going to need to come back to. Although I don't love listening to myself talk on episodes. So.
Me either, ever. So maybe people who listen to this, you can tell us what we said.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go back. Yeah. Or maybe I can just talk to you again about it in person.
There we go. We'll just talk more.
All
right. Should we move on to Loving This Week?
Yes.
LTW.
Yeah.
Angela, what are you loving?
Well, I have a recipe, and it's for ranch dressing.
Yes.
You probably know about my ranch dressing recipe.
I do.
But, so I've had it for a long time, and I've always loved it. But for some reason, lately, I have really been making it a lot and digging in. It's like my go-to snack now.
It is so good. I know why. It's amazing.
Well, so there's 2 different ways you can make it. So basically, you put a bunch of spices together. You put minced onion, salt, parsley, and garlic. Just together. And then you can mix it to make like a dressing. And I'll put the recipe in the show notes, but it calls for like half or like a cup of buttermilk and a cup of mayo. So it's kind of runny. But then the other way you can make it is with 2 cups of sour cream. And that's what I've been using.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, I know. So it's like nice and thick and delicious. And so I've been eating it with crackers. And what's funny is I don't want this to come off wrong. I'm not a snacky kind of person. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to eat, and if there are snacks out, I will eat them.
Yeah.
And I'm not above snacking. I think probably I just like eat a lot at a meal. So I'm not always like really hungry for a snack.
Sure.
And sometimes when I look around, there's just nothing I want. I mean, nothing is worth like,
which is kind of nice.
Nothing would taste that good, but this does. So I last night I couldn't sleep. And so I got up. It was like
got out the ranch.
It was like middle of the night. And no, we didn't have any. And I was going to make some, and then we didn't have any minced onion. And I was like, what? I was like laying in bed dreaming of it. So I didn't have it last night. I'm going to have to go get some.
So do you pre-mix all the spices and then just take out a couple tablespoons?
Take out a couple tablespoons for each one, yeah.
Okay.
But I was out of the pre-made spice mix. So because I've been using it so much lately. So anyways, yes, that is an old favorite that I love. And I will put the recipe in the show notes. It's not my recipe. I got it from Heavenly Homemakers. It's a website. So I want to give her credit. And I will put it in the show notes. So
we make that every time we get together, don't we? With our college friends.
Yeah, pretty much. For the weekend.
For
salad.
Weekend. Exactly. And everything.
I'm going to have to make it with the sour cream next time.
Sure. But I mean, I like it with buttermilk and mayo too. I'm not picky.
Yeah, but when it's thick all good. And you can put a big glob of it on your cracker. So good.
I don't know. I kind of like it less thick now.
Okay.
I'm into less thick ranch.
Well,
and I think that's because I've been, having the Primal Kitchen Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very
healthy.
Runny.
And
it's
healthy.
Not thick at all.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Yeah. Okay, what are you loving this week, Maren?
So I am loving, it's a new cold pressed drink that you can purchase at Costco, which is awesome. It's cold pressed juice. It's called Daily Greens.
Oh, yes.
And you can get it in a pack of 9. And it's so great because cold pressed juices can be very expensive, but at Costco it's a good deal. Yeah. Let's just say it's a really good deal. Now, the first time I drank this, it was a little bitter for me because it's a lot of veggies. It says on the bottle, it's a 12-ounce bottle, 4.5 pounds of produce in each bottle. Impressive. It's impressive.
Let me see the bottle. Will you hold it up for me? I gotta see. Oh yeah, I've drank that before.
You have.
Do you get is all 9 of it that Daily Greens?
There are 3 different kinds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. This one's Purity, and I don't remember what the other 2 are.
Is that your favorite, the Purity one?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. You like them all.
I don't even keep track. I just put them in my fridge and I grab one.
Yeah, nice.
They don't taste a lot different to me.
Oh, okay.
Between the 3 flavors. So, anyway, so the first couple bottles were a little bitter for me, and now I just feel like it's so refreshing.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing.
Yeah.
So good.
Awesome.
So I'm loving it. And I just feel good when I drink it.
I'm going to have to add those to my Costco list.
I know.
Now, since I moved, we're a little bit further away from Costco. And I know we're about the same distance from Costco. It's kind of far. You go a long ways for Costco.
You think it's farther? I don't think so.
Oh.
Let's talk about it on the podcast.
Off the podcast.
I'm just kidding. I think we should talk about it in front of all of our listeners. No.
Okay. So I haven't been to Costco much lately, but I'm going to add that to my list. Okay. Because I didn't know that they had them there in a 9-pack. I've bought them singly at Target, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And then they're more expensive that way, which I always think I have to put it in my cart. When I get a cold pressed juice anywhere else, I put it in my cart and I think about it the whole time. I'm walking around thinking, do I want to spend $3 on this drink? This is a lot of money or something. So this was better.
Yes. Gotcha.
No brainer. Getting it.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for listening. And we will put links to anything that we talked about in our show notes. Which you can get on our website at homeschoolunrefined.com or just in your podcast app. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Homeschool Unrefined. And we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Homeschool Unrefined was created by Maren and Angela Sizer. Thanks to Gambler's Daughter for providing the music for our show. You can find Gambler's Daughter at facebook.com/Gambler's Daughter Music.